Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon. Today, we are doing a review of Season 4, Episode 6 of Discovery Stormy Weather. People, I like this episode. I'm gonna just go ahead and admit it. I like this episode. There were some things in it, of course, that I'm gonna have to question, but overall, I like this episode. Now, this isn't gonna be a long video. It's gonna be rather quick. I'm gonna try to keep it to its minimum. So let's jump right into it. So basically, they're getting back into the roots of what they're supposed to be doing. They're going to check out this DMT, figure out where it came from. The way that they're going to do this is by entering a damaged portion of subspace that the rift left behind. Okay, now right off the bat, I'm going to say that when they went into the rift, the area of space that they were in, the first thing I thought of was Nagilum from the Next Generation. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I could see the DMT being something that Nagilum would probably release since Starfleet was made aware of the voids and how to avoid the voids, about the card. So, but as the episode went on, I found that no, this isn't something that Nagilum would be responsible for because none of the things that was going on inside the void were indicative of the things that Nagilum was doing, besides the hallucinations that Book was having. But I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Now, let me just, I'm gonna be jumping around and I'm gonna try to keep it straight, but I'm gonna be jumping around. Now, let's talk about Zora. Zora's the AI that's inhabiting Discovery's computer. Every time I do a video on Discovery where I have to talk about Zora, I say Zora is the most useless addition to the crew that I could ever think of. And most of this episode, it was pretty much the same. Zora had one standout, and before we continue, let me just say spoilers, but y'all know how I roll. Zora had one standout scene, two standout scenes at the end of the episode that I will talk about in a minute. But Zora, I don't like Zora's voice. I'm used to Major Barrett's voice. Um, I don't like the fact that my computer that I need to operate my starship can have that can get frightened, can get scared, can be overwhelmed. Okay, these are things I don't really need my computer to be doing when it's responsible for my life support. You know what I'm saying? So I I don't like that. Um, but I do love how they're talking about or how they're getting into Zora. Okay, I like where they're starting to go with it, and what I mean is the exploration of her, I guess, emotional side. All right, but again, I don't like my main computer being emotional about too much of nothing. Um, Now, when they get inside this void, they realize that they have no ability to scan. They can't scan anything. They can't detect anything. There's nothing. So they decide to launch a probe. And when the probe got about 6 or 7 thousand meters away, it encountered the edge of this barrier or whatever was closing in, on this barrier. And the way that the probe made this screaming noise was very trippy. It was very unsettling. You know what I mean? Not to me, I thought it was awesome, because I'm a horror dude. But it was a very unsettling thing for that sound for that probe to make under those situations. And the way they explained, well, the probe was eaten instead of dissolved or disintegrated or destroyed. It was very interesting, the choice of words that they used to explain that. Um, Let me see. Stamets is working on his people skills, I see. Book comes in and Stamets is trying to delegate. He's trying to say thank you, be more courteous and everything like that. And I thought that's good because, well, I kind of like Stamets abrasive actually. I kind of like Stamets being abrasive the way that he was. It brought a uniqueness to him. All right. Um, you know, having, going back to the computer, having a computer that's afraid, can be wrecked with guilt, loves the people, on a ship. I guess there are some pluses to a computer that loves everybody, but I really need my computer compute. You know what I mean. So um, in this episode, we get to meet Book's father. All right, and he kind of remind me of a Lou Gossett Jr. type dude. You know what I mean? But for people who too young to know who Lou Gossett Jr. is, just go ahead and look him up. But he had the Lou Gossett Jr. type of vibe to him, and the interaction between him and Book, not knowing if this hallucination was part of Book's imagination, a projection of his imagination, or if it was actually being influenced by the void. So I thought that that was an interesting, tug of war that they was having in that. Now we also, lost a crew member when Zora had to basically erect the shields around the, erect the pressure bulkhead. Now, another thing about Zora, man, if you detecting something on a ship, man, and Gray is telling you, yo, you might want to tell a captain. Tell a captain. Speaking of Gray, Gray is kind of a hit and miss with me. I like their use of Gray in this episode. How Gray uses the skills that he has, or I don't know if I'm using the, I guess the gender pronoun correctly, but I'm gonna just stick with what I know. Okay, so I don't know if Gray. I like the way that they're used Gray in this episode to try to play off his skills as wanting to be a guardian and how he dealt with Zora and her problems with the game. Okay. Um, the thing is, though, that there seems to be a lot of counseling or people taking the role of counselors in this season of Discovery. We have the doctor, right? We have Gray, and we have Saru. All of these people seem to be serving some type of counselatory role on the ship, and I think that they should just have one counselor, maybe two. You know what I mean? But overall, Gray is okay. I love the attention that they gave to Gray in this episode and having Gray shine a bit. Now, another thing is everybody on the bridge got the rank of commander except for the ensign girl. I mean, like everybody's a commander now. Like where's the chain of command? Everybody's just commander. Commander, this person sitting at the con is commander. Person driving the ship is a commander. But let me tell you something that I thought was very interesting about this. They end up finding out that the DMT has come from outside our galaxy. All right. It's two things that's very important about that. Three. It's only three life forms that have ever come extra galactic in Star Trek. That would be the Kelvins. All right. That would be those little parasite things from Conspiracy that I was telling you guys about in the last episode. And for you guys that don't know, that would be Zero, who was featured in the Star Trek, the movie episode Undiscovered Country, and who I did a video on as being the strongest or the most powerful entity in Star Trek canon. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, I'll put the link of it down here below, the top Trek's top 10 most powerful entities. And there I'll talk a little bit about Zero and why applying Zero to this would be kind of interesting, because they say that the power requirements to do this would be on God level, and Zero is God level, but he's prevented from coming into our galaxy by the continuum. All right. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing that I thought was interesting is how they reverted to, I guess, prehistoric technology to kind of solve their navigation issue by the use of sonar. All right. Now, let's talk about the highlight of the episode to me. There's two highlights of this episode to me, and let me tell you what they are. The first highlight of this episode is the call back to, Scotty always being a man. Scotty's always saving the ship. I don't care if Scotty's saving his ship being on a ship. I don't care if Scotty's saving his ship by writing regulations and protocols and everything for engineering for later engineers to follow. I don't care if Scotty is saving his ship by doing something so revolutionary that it's remembered 1,000 years later. If you guys remember the episode Relics, Scotty survived and tried to save the rest of the crew that was on, I forget the name of the ship, his little ship, by putting themselves in a pattern buff and then making a few other adjustments as well. And they made a callback to that in this episode. in which case that's something that they did to save the crew when the ship was about to overheat. So I love the fact that they included that. That was awesome. The second thing was, man, look, blue skies. I mean, not stormy weather. The use of the song "Stormy Weather" in this episode when Zora decides to sing it for Burnham was just, it was beautiful. The way they cut that, the way they just faded everything, all the explosions and all the chaos into the background, and just had that song. Now, I wonder if this episode links in any way to Captain Picard, the series. And I ask that because you have blue skies, and right after blue skies, you got stormy weather. So I wonder if there's something in this episode that would link to a future Picard episode. But overall, man, this episode was really nice. The problem solving that went into it, the escalation of the danger and everything like that, the examination of the unknown and how they deal with it. You know what I mean? The interpersonal relationships and the examinations that they went into with the crew while still focusing on a very interesting story. You know, the way they progressed the information with the DMT and the investigation of the DMT. So, how did you guys like this episode? Was it a good addition to season 4? You know, I'm happy because of like the last 2, 3 episodes, man. I've been like, oh my God, this, no, 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 no. But this episode, it got me going again. It got me some hope again. You know what I mean? I always talk about hope when it comes to Discovery as a hit or miss. And this episode was definitely a hit. So, you guys check it out. Please ring the bell. Please subscribe if you haven't for any future content. And as always, peace, recycle, and say the whales. You guys be cool.